This incident in the ministry of Jesus recorded in today's gospel is familiar to us. Zacchaeus encountering Jesus in the town of Jericho. An important and curious detail of the account is that it is noted that Zacchaeus was short in stature. But we should not limit our understanding of that description to the man's height alone, because we also learn that Zacchaeus was a tax collector, and because he was a tax collector, he was a wealthy man, revealing to us that his social status in the town of Jericho was about as low as you can go. As a tax collector, he was at the service of the hated Roman overlords, who not only allowed Zacchaeus to collect what they thought was due to the empire, but they also encouraged him to get as much as he could for himself by exploiting and overcharging his fellow citizens who were his fellow Jews. So Zacchaeus likely lived in great comfort in Jericho, but in near complete social isolation, as his neighbors considered him to be a greedy opportunist. And because he was colluding with the Gentiles to exploit them, he was religiously regarded as completely unkosher, unclean, someone to be avoided. Yet of all the people in Jericho that day who had come curiously to get a glimpse of this now rather famous teacher and healer from Nazareth, Jesus, a celebrity of sorts at this late stage of his ministry, it is Zacchaeus to whom Jesus turns his personal attention, as if, contrary to what the crowd might think of him, Zacchaeus was the most important man in that town that day. To Jesus, he truly was, because Zacchaeus was the most lost of all the lost sheep of the house of Israel among the crowd assembled in that town that day. And so, out of love, Jesus was determined to reclaim Zacchaeus. As this surprising rescue mission unfolds, something more is revealed about Jesus, about Zacchaeus, and about the crowd of supposedly religious people. The crowd reacts with great disapproval when Jesus shows attention to Zacchaeus and seeks an invitation from Zacchaeus to dine at his home. This man eats with sinners, they are grumbling, as if they are somehow righteous as they point the finger at Zacchaeus as unworthy. Jesus, at the same time, has a purpose in singling out Zacchaeus and does not seem to care one bit about the negative reaction of the crowd, because he pays no attention to it whatsoever, no attention to their grumblings, and just proceeds with his plan to win Zacchaeus back for God. Thus, let us take special note how unconcerned Jesus was with human approval when setting out to do what he knew to be his Father's will. Zacchaeus, although regarded as a hopeless sinner by his neighbors, reveals that he is not beyond conversion. For even before they leave together to dine at his home, his face-to-face encounter with Jesus at the base of that sycamore tree has already caused Zacchaeus a dramatic change of heart, as we hear him promise to make right any past wrongs by restitution and by almsgiving. So we see Jesus fulfilling the attributes of God described for us this morning in our first reading. Jesus, who as a lover of souls and a loather of none, mercifully overlooks the sins of Zacchaeus in order to get him to repent, and by gently calling Zacchaeus, succeeds in getting him to abandon his wickedness and recover his faith. Jesus did indeed fully accomplish the conversion of Zacchaeus and open Zacchaeus' eyes through faith to reappreciate his own dignity as a son of Abraham, but also, curiously, to recognize the true identity of Jesus. And we can note that as it's subtly revealed in the way that Zacchaeus eventually addresses Jesus as Lord, an essential insight that escaped many of the supposedly devout people among the crowd in Jericho that day. So this Zacchaeus episode continues to emphasize a theme in the gospel, the great reversal, in which the coming of God in the person of Jesus Christ would cause the lowly to be lifted up, while the mighty to fall, and the last to be first, and the least to become the greatest. Yet what is this gospel's lesson for us as people of religion today? Yes, to appreciate God's unfailing love for all people, including ourselves, even when we fall into sin, and to be certain of the Lord's desire to call us and welcome us back no matter what. But as we look at the behavior of the crowd that day in Jericho, we might also appreciate how easy it is for people who see themselves as religious to end up thinking and acting in ways that are, in truth, far from godlike. So some soul searching continues as ever to be in order whenever we hear this gospel proclaimed. We might ask ourselves today, who are those individual persons, or maybe even whole groups of people, whom we are ready to judge or to write off as unworthy of God's love? The people whom we consider sinful or unkosher, those whom we would want to avoid or maybe secretly or openly even shun. If we say to ourselves, not so fast, I better take another look, and then pray to God that we might be able to see them as He sees them, then salvation has come to our home this day as well.